Islamic weekend school for children and goes by the name Manar Weekend School. It also holds regular Friday sermons at the center's masjid, which are delivered by local and international speakers in the English language. To know more about the center activities, please log on to our website www.almanarcenter.com and do also subscribe to our YouTube channel for latest video lectures. Alhamdulillah, we have gathered tonight for a very inspirational talk, a topic under the theme, the love of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which will continue over this weekend. We have programs for tonight, tomorrow and on Saturday by our beloved speaker, Sheikh Abduraheem, the greatest person to walk on earth, a person who we all follow and adore, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Before I invite him to give his talk, I would like to give his brief introduction. Sheikh Abduraheem embraced Islam over 30 years ago, and since that time has been active in the field of dawah. He was educated in a Christian monastic school, and although he held strong Christian principles, dabbled with other religions. This continual quest led him to question and find the meaning of life, which eventually led him to Islam. The Sheikh spent many years at the Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park, where he made his name as an inspirational orator. He has been delivering talks nationwide, including universities and also international platforms, such as the Peace Conference in Mumbai. He is a regular speaker on Peace TV, with many of his lectures widely watched online. He is also the founding member and chairman of IRA, a dawah organization in the UK. He is currently involved in developing an online learning platform which is focused on personality development with an Islamic perspective. To get more updates and to subscribe, please visit www.getIwillpower.com. I repeat, www.getIwillpower.com. Now, without further ado, brothers and sisters, please welcome Sheikh Abduraheem on the topic, the best of you according to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له وما يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وبعد. We begin by praising Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help, and we ask for His forgiveness. And we take refuge with Allah from the evil of ourselves and from the evil consequence of our evil actions. Anybody whom Allah guides, no one can misguide. And anybody whom Allah leaves to go astray, nobody can guide. And I testify that Allah alone is worthy of worship, and that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His servant and His messenger. So tonight I've been asked to talk about a really amazing and important subject, the best of you. Now, before I mention a few beautiful hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, I want to talk about this subject in general terms. So the first thing I want to highlight, brothers and sisters, to all of you, is the importance and the need for Muslims to be aspirational. Aspirational. What does that mean? Aspirational means to aspire, to want to achieve something. But of course, from our perspective, aspirational doesn't mean that I want to have the nicest car and the best house and the most good-looking wife or husband or whatever. These are the normal things that people are aspiring towards. But aspirational, from the perspective of Islam, that Islam encourages, is to aspire to be the best that you can be, to be the best person that you can be. And let me give you an example that illustrates this very well. The Prophet ﷺ told us that when you ask for Jannah, when you ask for paradise, what do? Do you say, oh Allah, give me a little place in paradise, even if it's a piece of like the size of a grass, I'll be just so happy, Allah please. Is that what the Prophet taught us? What did he ask us? To ask Allah for what? For Al-Firdaus. Yes, for Jannah al-Firdaus, for the highest level in Jannah. Number one, why? Because Allah is Kareem. Allah is Al-Kareem. He is the most generous. Allah is most generous. Why ask Allah for a little when you can ask Him for a lot? Why ask for a small place in Jannah when you can have Al-Ala, the highest place in Jannah? But it also is teaching us, brothers and sisters, to aspire to be the best that you can be. Be the best that you can be. Reach the highest levels that you can. That is what the Prophet ﷺ is teaching us. And I think this is very important to mention, because, brothers and sisters, a lot of us, we just want to make do. Yeah, that's, a lot of us, we just want to get by, do the minimum, whether it's the minimum work that we need to do to get paid, whether it's the minimum by way of being a good husband. Yeah, well, I give her some clothes and I put food on the table. What does she expect? Or whether it's the same with the wife, the minimum to keep your husband happy. Or whether it's with our kids, give them the minimum. Whatever it is, I'll do the absolute minimum that I can to get away with it, so people don't say I'm a bad person. And when it comes to our religion, when it comes to our deen, it's like, yeah, we go to the mosque maybe on Friday or for Eid. Some people don't think they only have to pray on a Friday. Some people only just pray on Eid. So, and unfortunately, brothers and sisters, some of this is due to the sort of things that we hear from khutbahs and imams, and they talk about the story of the lady who went to paradise because she gave a dog a drink from her shoe. And people, that is true. That it's a true hadith. The Prophet did say that. But if we say these things all the time, yes, we want people to hope in Allah's mercy. Yes, we want people to do good, even if it is just a small thing, helping a dog. And we need to know that Allah's mercy is vast, and that what He loves from human beings is compassion and kindness, and Allah rewards compassion and kindness. These are very important things. But if we talk about this stuff all the time, it creates this mentality or this mindset that, I can just do one good deed and I'm going to go to paradise. That is not a good mindset to have. That's not a good mindset to have. In fact, it's wrong from an Islamic perspective. This woman lived in a time when there were no prophets, there were no messengers. She was not someone living in the presence of a messenger of God. She was not someone living in an Islamic society. In fact, she lived in a time of jahiliyyah, of ignorance. She didn't know about Quran, she didn't know about Salah, she didn't know about fasting, she didn't know about the rules of Islam. In fact, she was a prostitute living in the times of jahiliyyah. So her situation is different. We can't expect that Allah will judge us by that criterion. No. Allah is going to judge us according to what is available to us, according to our capacity. And that's the question I want to ask. I want to ask myself, and I want you, brothers and sisters, to ask yourselves tonight, all of you listening to me, what is your true capacity? What is your true capacity? What are you really capable of doing? If the metal hit, I can't remember the expression. There's an expression when it really gets down to it, when you get to the nitty gritty, when you get real and honest about yourself. If your back was against the wall and you were forced to do it, how much are you capable of? How much could you really do? How much do you think you could achieve in a day? If you really manage your time efficiently, if you really make use of every minute in your day in the best possible way, how much do you think you could achieve? Individually, as a family, how much do you think you could improve? The brothers have developed, mashallah, a really amazing online platform. Daily, was it Learn Deen Daily? Learn Deen Daily. So please check it out. LearnDeenDaily.com. I was a bit jealous, but in a good way. In a good way, right? I was jealous in the sense that the brothers had achieved some good for Islam, and I wish I thought of that. So this LearnDeenDaily.com is based upon a very important principle. That is an Islamic principle that has been taught to us by the Prophet ﷺ. And that is that the way to achieve things is by doing things regularly, even if they are little. If you do little things regularly, actually that adds up to a lot. So Learn Deen Daily is a system, a program, an online system, where you just dedicate half an hour or 40 minutes of your day, whatever it is, you decide, and you have a certain amount of Quran you read, a hadith you read, a name of Allah or an attribute of Allah that you contemplate upon, and you join a group and you discuss it. Now the reason I'm mentioning this Learn Deen Daily program is because it will give you an idea of how much you can achieve. You can really achieve and make that assessment of yourself. So they were saying that in just a short amount of time, really just a few months, brothers and sisters who had never read the Quran before had ended up reading half of Quran or 15 juz of the Quran. They'd never read the Quran before, but just by following this system. So what are you really capable of, brothers and sisters? I want you to think now, what could you really do with your day? If you cut out all the wasting, all the time wasting, if you cut out all the things you do, wasting time, watching TV, wasting time on Facebook, wasting time watching things, chatting about nothing, what if you used all that time efficiently? What could you shoot? Well, imagine the money you spend. People say, oh brother, I can't afford it. I can't afford your courses. I can't afford your online learning platform and whatever. And often I feel like saying, I actually wish I could say, okay, you know what brother, let's sit down and let's look at your finances and just give me an idea, look, what do you spend all your money on? A lot of us spend money on stuff. Here's the crazy thing. We would spend a lot of money on a subscription for a satellite TV channel to watch what? Bollywood movies. Oh, we of course make an excuse for it because, there's nature programs as well. But we don't actually watch the nature programs. We watch all the other stuff, right? So we'll spend money on a satellite TV, we'll spend hundreds of pounds or dirhams or whatever it is on a mobile phone, on all sorts of things. And some of these things we don't need them. Or we could do without half of that stuff. And then, we don't have money. So look, imagine we didn't waste our money. How much would we have left to give in charity? So, Just think about what you could really achieve if you really put your mind to it. And this is how the Prophet ﷺ raised the companions. If we look at them, they had this aspirational mindset. There was this group of companions who, what they used to do, and they were young, they were youth, they would study the Quran all night. They would be studying Quran, learning Quran, memorizing Quran. And this is more virtuous than praying tahajjud. Learning Quran, studying Quran, memorizing Quran. And then in the daytime, what would they do? They would go out and earn money so they could feed the orphans and the widows and the poor and the needy. This is what they did. SubhanAllah. This is aspirational, brothers and sisters. Because that's how the Prophet ﷺ raised them. In fact, most of the time, the Prophet ﷺ, you find that he was advising his companions, take it easy, don't do so much. Like this one companion, he came to the Prophet ﷺ, he said, you know, how much Quran should I read? How much fasting should I do? So the Prophet ﷺ advised him, okay, do this. He said, no, I can do more than that. Okay, then do this. No, I can do more than that. So at the end, the Prophet ﷺ said, fast every other day, right? And read the Quran in a day. You must not, that's it. I'm not going to give you permission to do more than that. But then this Sahaba, he lived to an old age. And he remembered this conversation with the Prophet ﷺ. And he's saying, I wish I had listened to the Prophet. I wish I had listened to the Prophet. Because now he was older, it was really hard for him to fast. It was really hard because he was busy with life to read so much Quran. So sometimes he would miss some days fasting, but then he would fast extra days to make it up. Why? Because he hated to miss out on what he had done in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. He hated the idea that he would actually do less deeds towards the end of his life than he did in the early days. But my point is, brothers and sisters, look how aspirational the companions were. They were aspirational. They wanted to be the best that they could be. And that's the attitude. That's what I want you to get from tonight. How can you be the best? How can you be the best sort of person you can be? Now another thing I want to talk about, and it's connected, is mindset. You might have heard me mention that word before. Mindset. Mindset is very simply the way you think about things. And there are many different types of mindsets. There are many different ways that people think about the world. But I want to concentrate, and I've talked about this before, you might have seen my Facebook Live I did a while ago about Trump and his mindset, okay? But there are two types of mindset. There is something that's called, there's more actually for this discussion. There's the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. And this is very important because this is linked to being aspirational and being the best that you can be. And just as a side point, I have a whole course on this on my website. getiwillpower.com. I have a whole course on mindset there, okay? So let's talk about the two mindsets. First of all, you have the fixed mindset. What is the fixed mindset? This is the idea, and this is quite common, that either you have it or you don't. Either you're smart, you're intelligent, you're capable, you're talented, you're athletic, you can make money, you can learn languages, you're good at mathematics, you're good at science, you're good at languages. It's the idea that either you have it or you don't. Either you've got it or you haven't. In other words, it's the idea that our capabilities and our talents and our abilities are fixed. We're just born that way. You either have the genes or you don't. You either have the talent or you don't. Right? And this is a fixed mindset. And people can have this fixed mindset in many different ways. They can think about it in terms of intelligence, in terms of different capabilities. But also people can apply this fixed mindset to relationships. Like love, marriage, love. People think either we're in love or we're not. We fell in love, we fall in love or you don't. This person loves me or this person. They don't think of love as something that you have to grow and you have to develop and you have to work on. No, either she loves me or she doesn't. If you really love, but this has a consequence. So let's talk about this example of love. The person who has this fixed mindset thinks, well, if my husband really loved me, if he really loved me like he should know how I'm feeling. He should know how I feel about this. He should know how I feel about that. Because that's what true love is. He should know it. And, you know, the problem, now you can see, the problem with this is very dangerous. Because if you have this mentality, when a person doesn't live up to your expectations, then you think there's no way to change it, there's no way to improve it, there's no way to fix it. Because you know what? That person is that way, that's just the way they are. You know, he's like that, she's like that, there's nothing I can do, end of relationship, let's finish, divorce, that's it. When it comes to work, oh well, there's no point in me learning languages, I don't have that gift. There's no point teaching that kid those things, that kid just doesn't have the capability. What's the point in, this kid learning athletics or becoming fit? No, look at him, he's a weakling, he's not got the genes for it. So it has big consequences. When you think that people's capabilities are fixed, you will not invest time and effort into improving people because you think there's no point. Because either they have it or they don't. Now let me ask you a question. Do you think that that is how a Muslim should think? Should a Muslim think like that? Yes or no? Do you think that's what Islam teaches? Yes or no? Yes, to some degree, some people are more intelligent. It's true. Some people are more athletic. It's true. Some people don't feel angry so easily. Some people don't have a great sexual drive, for example. It's true. So some people have this, some people don't. We are different in that respect. But that's only a small part of the story. In fact, if there's one thing we can understand from Islam, one of the most important things that we can understand from Islam is that whatever you strive for, you get. Whatever you make an effort for, this is the sunnah of Allah. And what Islam teaches us is to change ourselves with the help of Allah, to make the effort to change, to improve yourself, to have good manners, to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to make yourself stronger physically, economically, mentally. Just because you're not good at something, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't keep trying. And you should keep trying, and you should keep trying to improve yourself in every day. Because as Muslims, we believe that we can all grow, we can all learn. And we'll all benefit through growing and learning. And that is what we find the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had the opposite of the fixed mindset. He had the growth mindset. This idea that people could change, they could become better, and that they could grow in knowledge and wisdom. He could have said, oh well, we Arabs, only 17 of us know how to read and write, so we're just naturally a people, we don't know how to read and write, so we won't bother. In fact, there is a hadith the Prophet ﷺ said, we're not calculating people and this and that. But did that stop the Prophet ﷺ from getting people to learn to read and write? No way. He did everything he could to raise the educational standard of the companions. So when, for example, after the Battle of Badr, they captured some of the mushriks and some of them could read and write, he allowed them to ransom themselves for freedom on the condition they taught a certain number of companions to read and write. And once they'd done that, they could be free. This is how the Prophet ﷺ, he has the growth mindset. How can I grow my people? How can we improve them in every single way, shape or form? This is how the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then when you think like that, brothers and sisters, you never give up on people. You realize that, you know what? Maybe this person is not learning this because they're being taught in the wrong way. Or maybe the environment is not the best for them. So if you have a growth mindset, if you're a teacher, or you're a parent, or you're in a relationship, you will be thinking, how can I make this work? And this is aspirational. This is the basis. You see, you can never be aspirational, really, if you have a fixed mindset. You're not going to be truly aspirational. And you'll never be able to acquire that mentality of being the best. And that's what we need to look for, brothers and sisters. Ihsan. As Muslims, we don't just want to be Muslims, we want to be mu'min. And we don't want just to be mu'min, we want to be muhsin. We want to have ihsan. We want to worship Allah as if we are seeing Him. Now, think about this, brothers and sisters, please. Just close your eyes. And of course, everyone close their eyes. And of course, none of us know what Allah looks like. But I just want you to imagine. Imagine you are in the presence of Allah. Just imagine right now. It's like you're in Jannah. And you are in the presence of Allah. Just imagine you are, how will you feel? Just imagine that state. Just imagine it. That you are seeing the face of Allah. How will you be overwhelmed with just wonder at the beauty and the majesty and the greatness? And how would you be? Okay, so open your eyes. So if you did that exercise, you're going to be feeling, because just me just saying it, I feel elevated. I literally feel on a different level just doing that. Imagine you were looking at the face of Allah. How would you be? If you had to do something and you knew that Allah is watching you, if you looked up and Allah was there, right, and you had to do something, how would you do it? Would you do it? Oh, let me just see how I can get this done. Yeah. Or would you do it in the best way? Would you do it in absolutely the best? Would you try and make every single bit of what you do absolutely as perfect as possible? Because you would be inspired. You would just be, you're in the presence of this awesome being, the creator of all things, Allah. So beautiful, so majestic. You would be, and we can understand. Even brothers and sisters, when we're in front of someone we respect a lot, someone we love a lot, how do we behave? We change our behavior. We will change our manners. I've seen people, rough kids from the street in London, you think when you interact with them, they don't know what good manners are. Effing and blinding and swearing and cussing and, oh, this is like that type of stuff like that. But you put them in a certain environment and suddenly it's like, wait a minute, you mean you actually do know how to behave? And you can have a sentence without 3 swear words, punctuated everything? They can do it. They know how to do it. It's just the environment. Right? So brothers and sisters, this is to have ihsan. To worship Allah as if you are seeing Him. Although you can't see Him, not in this life. But you know that Allah, you know that He sees you. So this is how we should be. If you have that type of mentality, then you will be aspirational. You will always be the best that you can be. You will always try to be the best that you can be. And all of these things come together. So brothers and sisters, what I want to mention now, okay, is a few beautiful things the Prophet ﷺ said. I took a few notes, so forgive me I usually don't refer to notes. But let me start with some general things. The general things the Prophet ﷺ said. Who are the best of people? The best of people are those who are most useful, those who bring the most benefit to others. This is one of the first things the Prophet ﷺ, and I say first in the sense that this is something very general. The best people are the ones who are most useful and beneficial to others. Think about that. Think about that. The best of the Muslims and the best of people in general, of all the people, the ones who are best are the ones who are most useful and helpful to others. That's something, therefore, we want to aspire. This should motivate you. You should say, you know what, I want to be like that. How can I be useful? How can I help others? How can I help the people around me, my neighbors, my neighborhood, my friends, my family, my country, the world in which we live? How can I make the world a better place? How can I be useful to other human beings? And then, of course, what is the greatest level of useful? Of course, from the point of view of a secularist or an atheist, they look at religion as a waste of time. But from our perspective, from the perspective of the believer, it's the opposite. We believe that the best benefit that we can ever bring to people is that they know Allah, they know their Lord, they know their Creator. This is the greatest benefit. So the one who is the most beneficial is the one who is teaching people about Allah, who is teaching people about their Lord, teaching people about their deen, calling people to Islam. So this is the greatest benefit. And then obviously looking after the poor and the weak and the needy, creating an infrastructure where people can have good, prosperous lives. These things, brothers and sisters, are very, very important things. So the best of you are those who are most useful to others. Okay? The next thing is the best of you are those who have the best character. Character is something very important. And again, we need to approach this with a growth mindset. You find people saying, well, that's just the sort of person I am. I'm just an angry guy. I'm just an emotional woman. People say stuff like that. Oh, I'm not really, You think, yes, it's true that some people have characteristics. But then what would it mean to improve your character if your character is fixed? How do you improve it? No, you can. You can change your character. You can change the way you are. You can be good-mannered. You can learn to be kind-natured. You can learn to be empathetic. Empathetic means to feel how others are feeling. You can learn those things. It takes practice. It takes effort. In fact, it takes a huge amount of effort. In fact, it is the greatest struggle, the greatest jihad is this jihad against your nafs, to improve your character and your personality. You can make yourself a better person. And it's something we need to apply ourselves to. So when you hear the Prophet saying, the best of you are those with the best character, it's not supposed to be that, oh, there's these people with good character and that's it, fine, leave it. No, it's supposed to be saying, you're now supposed to say, wow, I want to be one of those people. I want to have the best of character. How can I develop good character? How can I develop good characteristics? How can I develop good akhlaq and good adab? Good morals and good manners, right? You can develop those things, brothers and sisters. One of the simple ways is by hanging out with good people. If you want to be good, if you want good character, hang out with good people. That's one of the simplest ways. Because you'll follow what your friends are like, you'll be like them. Like the smell of the blacksmith. If you live with a perfume seller, even if you don't buy perfume, you'll come smelling of perfume. If you live with a blacksmith, in the house of the blacksmith, even if he doesn't burn your clothes, you'll come smelling of smoke. So that's an easy way. Choose the people. You say, you know what? I want to have good character. Which group of people or which of my friends has good character? Let me spend more time with them. Let me learn from them. Let that good character rub off onto me. If you want to be more compassionate, be with people who are more compassionate. It's a very simple way. Okay? So the best of you are the ones who are most useful to others. The best of you are the ones who are good character. Specifically, let me be a little bit more specific about good character. The Prophet ﷺ said, the best Muslim is the one from whose tongue and hands the Muslims are safe. The best Muslim is the one, meaning the best Muslim is the one who does not abuse other Muslims with their tongue or with their hands. They don't attack them verbally and they don't attack them physically. So this is how is the best. This is specific type of character. So when you see people abusing Muslims with their tongues and with their hands, beating them, attacking them, so on and so forth, this is amongst the worst type of characteristics. These are amongst the worst types of people. The best people are the ones opposite of that. Here's another very important, this is a general hadith. The best of people are those who are best at fulfilling rights. This is a big topic. This is a massive topic in and of itself. I don't want to, I could go a bit too long into this topic, but giving people their rights is so important. Giving people their rights is so important. This is something emphasized in Islam. So for example, if you are an employee and someone is working for you and you have to pay them, the Prophet ﷺ said, you should not wait for the sweat to dry off their back. If someone has done work for you, don't even wait for their sweat to dry before you pay them. That is how strict you must be. Why? Because when someone works for you, it is their right that they get paid. That is the right. And it's their right that they get paid a just and fair amount. And this is one of the problems, I think, with the Muslim world in general. When you look to the non-Muslim world, you will see that the non-Muslims, who is leading the world today in rights? Animal rights, human rights, workers' rights, women's rights, rights of the disabled. Where is all of this coming from? Tell me. The Muslim world? Who is the leader in these things? Where? Tell me, be honest. It's the non-Muslims. I'm not saying, actually, if you look in our history, our religion, Islam, the Prophet Muhammed ﷺ was giving animal rights. You should read and study what Islam says about animal rights. Animals have rights even when they're being killed. They should be killed mercifully. They should not suffer minimal pain. You should not even allow to kill one animal in front of another to spare their suffering. You're not allowed to, if you had a camel or a donkey, you're not allowed to overload it, to make it carry too much. This is the rights that we have to give to creatures. Even we're not allowed to hunt for sport. Just kill animals just for the fun of it. No. Animals have, to torture animals is forbidden. The Prophet ﷺ forbade that. Even burning ants, subhanAllah, the Prophet did not allow that. This is animal rights in Islam 1,400 years ago, but you don't find Muslims. You don't find Muslims caring about these things, you don't find Muslim countries care about these things, nothing. You look at what the Prophet said about the workers' rights, but we don't find the Muslim countries leading in legislation on this. And so on and so forth, brothers and sisters. So the best of human beings, the best of the people are the ones who give their rights. This is very important. Because the opposite of giving rights, when you don't give people their rights, what are you? You are an oppressor. You are a zalim. You are an oppressor. Oppression by definition is when you fail to give people their rights. And specifically, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned the specific types of rights is the right of the husband over the wife or the wife over the husband. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, the best of you are those who are best to their families, and I am the best of you to their families. So this means that the best men are the ones who are best to their wives. And best to your wife does not mean, by the way, oh, every month I want a new kitchen, I need a new sofa, and I need a new dress. No. That does not mean being the best to your wife. The best to your wife means, more important for most women than all of these material things, is emotional support. Women want to know that their husbands care about them, that they are protective over them, that they care about their mental and emotional state. And it's the same vice versa. When Allah says you are a garment for them and they are a garment for you, it does not mean that we just only protect each other from illicit sexual intercourse. No. It also means that we protect each other emotionally, mentally. That's how the family should be. So the relationship between the husband and the wife, as it was with the Prophet ﷺ. Look how the Prophet ﷺ was with his wives. And actually the wives of the Prophet were very good to the Prophet as well. So, often we talk about the problems, but no, they were very good to the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet was very good to them. Because they were the best. The wives of the Prophet were the best women. And he was the best to them. You see, so this is something we need to look at, brothers and sisters. This is all part of giving rights, but this is more kindness, how we are to our children, our wives. The best of you are those who are best to their families. Take time. If you feel, work on yourself, develop yourself. Don't think you're just fixed in some way, that your relationship is fixed in some way. No, you can work on your relationship. You can improve it. You can find ways, but we don't try. This is the problem. There are many ways that you can increase love between the wife and the husband. From the wife's side and the husband's side, both of you, there's many ways. Acts of kindness, knowing that person, you're thinking about that person, these type of things, brothers and sisters. So, the best of you are those who are best to their wives or their families. Okay? The best of people are those who live the longest and excel in doing good deeds. Whereas the worst of people are those who live longest and do corrupt deeds. So having a long life full of good deeds is the best thing for us. So that's something we should aspire to. Yes, sometimes we get fed up of life, that's true. Sometimes you can get fed up of life. But listen, you've got to look at life as an opportunity. Life is an opportunity, brothers and sisters. And don't make the mistake of thinking the opportunity of this life is to enjoy this life. No. The opportunity of this life, the real opportunity of this life, is to earn many good deeds to help you in the akhirah. That's what you're here for. And if you have a long life, you have more chance to do more good deeds. That's what you're in a long life for, not to enjoy this world. Actually, a believer soon gets fed up of this world. You soon get tired of this world. You soon realize that there's nothing really much to enjoy about this life. When you contemplate on the akhirah, when you contemplate on a place where you can look at the face of Allah, what is this world? But you know what? The longer I stay here, the more opportunity I have to do good deeds, and the more chance I have to spend more time seeing the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Jannah. Okay? So brothers and sisters, a few more things I want to mention. Two more very simple and practical things. And I'm sure you know these sayings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The best of you are those who learn the Quran and teach it to others. Learn the Quran and teach it to others. So this is another quality that we should aspire to. To learn the Quran ourselves and to also teach it to others. Many of us hand over the teaching of the Quran to institutes and to madrasas and to other people, which is, to be honest, I've done the same myself in the past. But the best thing, brothers and sisters, is for you to do it yourself. The best thing is for you to learn the Quran and for you to teach it to your children and to others. And that is, by the way, as well, please, we should give respect to those people who have memorized the Quran and who teach it. Because we should recognize them as the best amongst us. The best amongst us are those people who study this book, the Quran, who study it and learn it and understand it and teach it to others. And I don't just mean here the recitation of the Quran. It's not just learning the recitation, no, the meaning of the Quran, the tafsir of the Quran, which is really the religion. So this is talking about our scholars, the people who truly know the Quran and teach it to others. So the best of us are those who learn the Quran and teach it to others. And finally also the Prophet ﷺ, there's many other sayings, but the best of you are those also who feed others. This is another thing the Prophet ﷺ said. So feeding other people, especially of course it means the poor and the needy. So these are some things, brothers and sisters, and there are many others that you can aspire to. The main thing, the main takeaway I want you to get from today's lecture is to be aspirational. First of all, to realize that you can change, you can better yourselves, other people can change and other people can improve, everyone can improve. Nothing is totally fixed. We can develop our character, we can learn new things, we can all be better, we can all improve. This is the mindset that we should have, the growth mindset. The second thing is be aspirational. Aspire to be the best. And try and do what you do with ihsan, knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching you. And then think about these things the Prophet ﷺ said. The best of you are those who are most useful to others. The best of you are those who are best in character. The best of you are those who give others their rights. The best of you are those who are best to their families. The best of you are those who learn the Quran and teach it to others. So brothers and sisters, please, be useful, be helpful, see how you can help the country in which you live, the society in which you live, the neighborhood in which you live, your family, your friends. Be useful, be of good character, and let the Muslims feel safe from your tongue and your hands. And inshallah, we will once again become the best of people on the face of this earth. That's what we need to aspire to, brothers and sisters. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Jazakallah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh, for such an amazing talk and for giving us reminders to aim for the best in life and to always aim high through learning about the best people to walk on earth. I'm sure we all are guilty of always aiming to read the Quran or the life of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But it always happens due to either being busy in our worldly affairs or maybe the shaitan getting the better of us. But before our life ends, don't you always think that at least you'd finish it once? At least you understand the word of Allah and what He's trying to say to you at least once? Do you not always try to intend to know how the best man on earth has spent his life? Or do we end up on the Day of Judgment, as Allah mentions in the Holy Quran, Surah Al-Furqan, that the Messenger will say that my people have deserted the Quran. We never want to be in such people. For such to take a step forward, it is my privilege to announce the soft launch of an online learning platform, LearnYourDeen.com, as the Sheikh has said. Learn Your Deen platform is an initiative of Manar Islamic Center to promote education and learning among Muslims on a daily basis and develop the condition of the Ummah at large. The whole idea of Learn Your Deen is to encourage Muslims of all ages and various backgrounds to be committed to learning on a daily basis, even though it be as little. Because the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has said, the most beloved deeds in the sight of Allah are those which are done regularly, even though it is little. Therefore, I'd like to call upon Brother Zakaria and Sheikh Abduraheem to launch our platform, which inshallah we all should participate in to start our learning from today, bi-idhnillah ta'ala. We apologize, according to some technical difficulties, we will not be able to play the video today, but inshallah we'll try our best to play it tomorrow and show it to you how you can register and participate. In the meantime, I'd just like Brother Zakaria and Sheikh Abduraheem to say a few words on why everyone should participate on this platform.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. First of all, I thank Brother Abduraheem for being with us today. He is a wonderful personality and a great speaker. On behalf of Manar, I say our sincere gratitude for giving us the lecture. Alhamdulillah. Secondly, Manar always strive towards the path of Allah with a new initiative every time. This time we are coming with you easy to understand, a learning platform which is most important for our daily life. The word of Allah, Quran, you can learn by yourself by using our new initiative. It's a WhatsApp group. We must understand what Allah speaks to us. Without knowing, we will be losers here and hereafter. At least we should understand the meaning of opening Surah Fatiha, because we use it minimum 17 times daily. There are many people, many Muslims, they don't understand even the meaning of opening Surah Fatiha. These 7 verses, we speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The rest in the Quran, Allah speaks to us. So if we don't understand what Allah speaks to us, this is a big disaster. So dear brothers and sisters, make use of our new initiative. Learn your deen by yourself. May Allah grant success and ability to understand the word of Allah and saying and teaching of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the best character, the best man ever walked in this planet. Wa akhir dawana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
The Sheikh to say a few words. and how to participate.
Yeah, brothers and sisters, I already mentioned, I would just be repeating myself and what the brother mentioned about, I think it's a very, very positive program. I think one of the things that I want to mention generally, a very important thing, is that when our brothers do some initiative like this, I think it's very important. And I'm not giving you, I'm giving you the same advice that, I act upon, inshallah. When I see Muslims doing some initiative like this, I try to support it in some way, whether it's financially or some other way that I can do it, or just either by downloading the app and actually using it and giving feedback. So from one of the things that I find very sad is that when, for example, on the platform that I have created, I was saying to the brothers, even from people who have purchased the course, only a small percentage of people actually even do it. And from those people who do it, only a small percentage give feedback. Now my habit is, I give feedback even when I buy a product from Amazon or something like that, because I know that isn't that part of what a Muslim character is supposed to be? Right? Isn't deen and nasiha? Isn't the religion wanting good for people? Right? For everybody? Isn't that, for me it's just like, how else would you be as a Muslim? Because there's a person, they have a business, or they have a project. It may not be a business, it's a project. Like, this is not a business they're doing, this is a project. Imagine you did a project and no one took interest in it. How would you feel? And then even the people who used it, they didn't bother giving you feedback. How would you feel? Well, I'm sure all of you have experienced something like that. So what is wrong with us? I don't understand. I find it very confusing. I find it very confusing. Because I think maybe there's some sincerity lacking, or just people don't care about others. So what I'm trying to say is the brothers have, I've had a very quick look. I said, you should have let me look at it a bit more before like 5 minutes in the car, But from the 5 minutes I saw, it looks really good. So please take the time to log on, use the program, see how it is, tell people who you think might benefit from it, spread the word. This is what you need to do. And if you think it's rubbish, alhamdulillah, good, tell the brothers. Sorry brother, I think there's a lot of rubbish, in a nice way. You don't say it's a lot of rubbish. You say, okay, I tried to use your online platform, but I found this problem and that problem, and I found this and this and this. That's the minimum you can do. Yes or no? So please apply this, brothers and sisters. Every little bit you do. This is charity even from you. Okay? So please, brothers and sisters, contribute in whatever way that you can. Alhamdulillah.
Jazakallah khairan for the Zakaria and Sheikh Abduraheem for the persuasion of participating. I'd like to quickly make sure that everyone has the domain. It is www.learndaily.com. I'd appreciate if everyone notes that down in their notes or probably in a WhatsApp message. It's www.learndaily.com. So it's LearnDaily.com. You can browse the website is live, you can register, inshallah do so, and please share it so that everyone comes to know. So I'd like to proceed on to the Q&A session now. Before we start the Q&A session, there are a few rules which I'd like to make clear. Please note that any questions relating to politics, sectarianism, and controversial issues will not be entertained. And please keep your questions to the point and on the topic, and also as brief as you can. The brothers, I kindly request you to please mention your name and profession. The sisters can just mention their profession. So we have two mics, one for the brothers and one for the sisters, and we'll go one after the other. So I'd like the first question from the brothers, please. Please raise your hands so that our volunteers can give you the mic.
So Abduraheem. It's a question related with the dog where you said that the race of the animal. I don't know if it's related to the religion. Probably they say that lizard, it's a sign of filth, or wherever you find it, you should like kill them. So has it got to do something with religion, or is it right, or should we do it, or should we not?
Okay, there is a certain type of lizard, not any lizard. There is a certain type of lizard. Sometimes in Islam, there are some things that are harmful to human beings. They may have some harm to human beings, like a scorpion. Right? So, for example, just to take another example, if you see a scorpion crawling around in your house, what are you going to do?
Kill it.
Okay. Because if the scorpion goes and bites your baby, you know your baby will be dead. So, and it's not like, so...
But lizard wouldn't do the same. I mean, it's just like filth, but it's not like hazardous.
How do you know? Are you a scientist?
Oh yeah, maybe there are different types of things, right?
Yeah. So, different types of animals excrete different types of chemicals, they have different types of things. Okay, so even cats, although we're allowed cats, but it's well known, at least in England and the West, that it's dangerous, more dangerous to have a cat if there is someone pregnant in the house, because the cat has a type of chemical that can cause some harm to the woman. So there are some things that it's so if there is a type of pest, then it's allowed to kill it in Islam. So the Prophet ﷺ mentioned about one particular type of lizard. I'm not sure, I think it's the gecko, the one that they, but I don't know exactly which type of lizard it is. But there is a certain type of lizard, not any lizard, one particular type of lizard. That if you see it, you should try and kill it because it is a type of pest. Yeah?
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Could you please give some advice on how to, for children, and how to make friends? Like what kind of friends?
Like with anything, generally in Islam, the Prophet ﷺ said, be careful who you choose as your friends. So really what is important is that you as a parent, you give your children the right advice, you give them the right tarbiyah, you give them the right information. So it's important for you to teach your children to think about who are their friends, why are these people their friends, why are they choosing this particular group of friends over that other particular group of friends, and to advise them and to get feedback from them. What are their friends saying? Why do they react to a certain thing in a certain way? So obviously what we're looking for, what we have to be careful about as parents, is that children, like all of us, every human being has this challenge, is that we want to be accepted. And also, as human beings, we tend to look at what everyone else is doing to see what we should do. If I am trying to figure out what should I do, human beings generally look to see what everyone else is doing, and they do what everyone else does. So there's they say there's a simple reason for that, is that generally when people live, in tribes or in particular environments, you will look at the people who are more experienced, like, okay, what fruits are they eating? Are they taking the fruit from that tree? So when you see the elderly people oh, they're going over there to take the fruit from that tree or to pick those. So it saves you the effort of going to check every time to see, is this fruit ready? Is that you take the cue from the people who have experience. And a lot of the time it's just very efficient. It makes it easier for us. So it's something in our nature, but of course that can be very dangerous as well. Especially when people use that to manipulate us. They know that we just tend to follow the crowd, and they know that there's a way to manipulate people. So this is what is very important with our children. Children want to fit in. They want to do they want to do what everyone else is doing. But you shouldn't imagine that saying no to them and them feeling left out is necessarily a bad thing. Because this is something that children have to learn. They have to learn that you don't do everything that everyone else is doing. And you don't necessarily do something because everybody else is doing it. As a Muslim, you try to do things because is it pleasing to Allah or not? Is this what Allah wants us to do or not? Is this the way a Muslim should behave or not? Yeah? And sometimes you even have to, your kids will have to learn a hard lesson. Sometimes it's better to have no friends than have bad friends. Yes? So, these are the things as a parent you need to keep an eye on. Always get feedback from your kids. Get them to think about their intention. Get them to understand this very important fact in life, that the people you surround yourself, you will become like them. And so encourage them to be with people. And it doesn't just mean, if there are girls with other girls with hijab. Because I'm sad to say there are girls who wear hijab whose character is not good. Yeah? There are people who read Quran, but they read it with their mouths, but their character is not good. So what is important here is people who have good character, good manners, they talk in a good way, they treat each other, and the main thing, brothers and sisters, is what? Is treating each other with compassion and empathy and kindness. These are very, very important characteristics. Sometimes as Muslims, we think about just salah and reading Quran and hijab and a beard. Yes, these are some outward signs. But are your children's friends, are they kind people? Are they compassionate people? Are they caring people? Are they charitable? Do they treat the other children nicely? Do they stand up for what's right and stand against what's wrong? These are the people you want your children to be friends with, because that's what the sort of person you want your kids to be.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Jazakallah khair for this great talk. I have a question about the social media and how can we manage our time in this difficult time. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay, so you're going to ask me more. Okay, so this is something I cover quite a lot. It's a big topic, and I cover it in my online course on willpower, which is really about self-control, impulse control, self-discipline. That's the whole theme. Controlling your nafs, building good habits and breaking bad habits. Now, the mobile phone is one of the most powerful dopamine activating devices that has possibly ever been created. But if you don't know what's dopamine, you don't know what I'm talking about, right? So I discussed this in length, but very quickly. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter. It's a chemical in your brain. And dopamine is what gives you that feeling, when you have that irresistible urge to do something? When you turn on your mobile phone, yeah, and you see that little red dot, you see? It says 2 messages, and that irresistible urge, you have to press that. So excuse me guys, I'll breathe in a second. Just check it. I'm just joking. So that irresistible urge to press that, even that irresistible urge to just to get out your mobile phone and turn it on. Why? What's going on? Dopamine is a neurotransmitter. It has a very important purpose. So like everything, when we talk about our nafs, most of the time when we talk about nafs in Islam, we think of it as a bad thing. But actually, the basis of our nafs is not bad, it's essential for our survival. Because your nafs is what makes you want to eat and procreate and have companionship and drink and seek security, and your nafs are essential for our survival in this world as human beings. Okay? So the problem is not really the nafs, it's when it goes too far. When it becomes something that becomes a bad habit. So the nafs generally actually is very destructive. So this is the case. Dopamine is really, when we look scientifically, it's a part of our, what we can call our nafs from an Islamic perspective, right? So dopamine gives you the feeling of, dopamine is the chemical that drives you to seek a reward. Anything, it could be anything that gives you a reward. It could be money, it could be some food, it could be some beautiful girl or some good-looking guy, or anything that makes you feel you've got a reward. Something that's going to give you something you think is of benefit in your life. The thing that drives you, the thing that gives you that feeling, I want it, I want it, I want it. This feeling, I want it, is the chemical dopamine. And dopamine is triggered. Yeah? Triggered by certain things. Certain things get it, that chemical going in your body. So if you smell something, yeah, you smell it. You ever been that thing when you get that smell of a certain food, and that's it, I need a donut now, right? That smell triggered off your dopamine response, right? So your mobile phone is very, very, very powerful at doing that. What is the reward? You expect a reward. Because really, when you turn your phone on, you check your emails, you're hoping there's going to be that email that's going to give you the great job opportunity, or that amazing nugget of information that is going to help you change your life, or that email from that person you really wanted to marry, or someone's going to say, I'm going to send you some money. You have all these things, what you can imagine in your head is without limit. And that's not also on your email, your WhatsApp, or any of those apps. Sometimes it's just interacting and talking to someone else, or getting some news or some information about something. All of these things are things we need in our life, but our mind exaggerates that need. Dopamine exaggerates that need. So they didn't design the phone like this on purpose. It's just by coincidence, really, that they designed these things. Okay, what would be useful? How can we let people know that there's a message waiting for them? Right? So they didn't think, how can we activate people's dopamine and make them addicts to these phones? But that's what happened. That's what happens. One of the most powerful things to create addiction is this mobile phone. So it takes some real training, and I teach, that's one of the things I teach on my online course, how to overcome that, and I teach how to do it, and I can hardly control it myself. So it's hard. See, that's part of the danger of social media, is extremely addictive. Right? It wastes a lot of time. Because you're expecting some reward, you're expecting some benefit. So sometimes you'll find yourself just looking at the phone, oh, there's nothing. And you just keep flicking back and forth between screen after screen, just waiting for something to pop up, a new email to come. And you could be doing something useful with that time. And then maybe you'll find, when you go into Facebook, 1 hour, 2 hours pass. You're supposed to do a project, you're supposed to do a presentation, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that programming, all the time is gone. You're supposed to do something with the kids, cook the dinner, and the time is gone, you've been on Facebook, you've been on whatever. It's very dangerous. So you need to learn to control yourself. You need willpower, you need self-discipline. You need to understand, why does this happen? So that's the first danger of social media. The second danger that I have to warn you about, brothers and sisters, is that when you begin to engage in social media and you actually begin to send messages, one of the things you have to be very careful about is your manners, the Islamic manners. And one of the very sad things is that online, people behave like shayateen. In fact, when you meet those people in real life, they will never behave like that. But online, suddenly they say things they would never say. They type things, and here's the danger. You could type something about some brother, some sheikh, some incident, some situation, and within seconds, that thing has gone around the whole world. And imagine you said something that is going to mislead people, or imagine you backbit someone, or even worse, imagine you slandered someone. And that slander has gone around the whole world, and all of it is on your neck on the Day of Judgment. How will you undo an evil like that? You see, the Muslim is the one from whose tongue and hand the Muslim is safe. So the importance of having good manners and good akhlaq is even more important on social media. The importance of not spreading rumors, and not spreading gossip, and not spreading lies is very important, because you will be liable for this on the Day of Judgment. Imagine you spread a lie and people die because of that. You will be responsible. So it's very, very dangerous, brothers and sisters. You have to be very, very careful. Not only is it addictive, but when you get involved in it, the potential to do harm is big. But of course, the potential to do good is big as well. So I'll just give you an example. Like I say to people, I don't even bother traveling anymore. I hardly bother traveling. People say, oh, Abduraheem, we don't see you on the circuit. I give you an example. I just did, you know, the talk I just gave, I just did it now, Facebook Live. 100,000 people saw that video. 10,000 people watched it, which means they spent, I think, a minute or more than a minute watching it. And like 100,000 people actually came up on their feet for, I don't know, whatever, some amount of time. So the potential, you can see, the potential to use social media to do good things is absolutely huge. But the potential to do evil is also absolutely huge. So it means even more, brothers and sisters, really, we have to work so hard on our niyyah, our intentions. That's the first thing. Our manners and our morals, our akhlaq and our adab, very important. And to make sure that we say what is right and true and correct, that we don't do any justice to people. These things are very, very important. And also, we need to learn to have self-control, to be mindful of how we spend our time, because our time is like money. Money and time, they are similar in the sense that this is a blessing, like our health. This is a blessing Allah has given us. If Allah has given you free time, it's like Allah's given you money. Use it well. Use it for good. Use it to do good deeds. Use it to learn Islam, to read Quran, to teach goodness. Because, subhanAllah, there are people who have lots of money, but they have no time. They have lots of money, but they have no time. They have no time to do good. Only make money, make money. And there's some people with lots of time, but not so much money. So, you know, Allah has blessed you maybe in different ways, but you don't appreciate it. I'm just saying because social media has the capacity to really, you know, waste so much of your time. So try to make sure you use it for genuinely good things. Because by the way, your brain will fool you. Your brain loves to fool you. Your brain does not like you to do hard work. And the hardest work is changing yourself. The hardest thing to do is change. You do not like change. Human beings, you know, we spend time building our habits, we like our habits, we don't want to change. So change is hard work. So this is something we have to bear in mind. So our brain, our nafs will try to, and shaitan will try to distract us. The moment you really want to change, you want to do something good, you want to do something useful, shaitan, your nafs, will give you in your head, oh, it will give you something useful to do, but it's not nearly as useful. I'll give you an example. Here's a simple example. These are life skills, by the way, right? You're going to sit down, you're going to do your homework, you're going to do a project. Yeah? You sit down, right, and you start to work. Now, to work efficiently, you need to focus and concentrate on what you're doing for around half an hour, and you should not break your concentration, because it takes about 10 to 15 minutes for your mind to get into the focus mode, for your mind to be able to focus, to gather all the information, to be able to understand what it is dealing with. It takes your mind some time. Some people are quicker, some people are slower, but around that time. If you keep breaking your concentration by, you know, checking your phone, sharpening your pencil, or quickly go and have a biscuit, do this and that, or wave at someone. If you keep doing that every 5 minutes, or like someone said, it's like, imagine you planted a plant. You put a plant in the ground. Yeah? You leave it a day, you pull it up. And then you plant it somewhere else, and you pull it up. And then you plant it somewhere else, and you pull it up. Will this plant ever grow? Will it grow? No. This is like doing a project, you know, focusing on some work. This is very important, parents, to teach your kids these skills. So you need to, it's what they call the Pomodoro technique. Again, one of the things I teach in my course. So basically, you set your timer for 25 minutes, 40 minutes, maximum 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Right? And this time you give to your work, and you will not allow yourself to be distracted. After the 45 minutes, you must stop. For 5 minutes, 10 minutes, up to you. You decide. You must take a rest. Okay? But for this 40 minutes, you concentrate and you focus. Okay? So this focus is very important. So this is the danger of social media. Can keep, oh yeah, no, I have to check this. I have to check my email. I have to see what this. I have to see what that. So brothers and sisters, if we keep getting distracted like this, first of all, the social media will waste our time. And secondly, we lose our focus. But the point I want to make is that sometimes we think, oh, that's an important email. Yes, maybe it's important, but it's not important to the task we're doing now. Oh, I'm waiting for this WhatsApp message. Fine. You're waiting for the message. Your brain's telling you, oh, that's important. No. Your nafs is just lying to you. It doesn't want to do the hard work. It doesn't want to sit down for 40 minutes and work hard. It wants to give you something else important, but it's not as important as what you're doing. So this is something very, that you need to bear in mind, brothers and sisters. These are skills that we need to learn to deal with these, big distractions.
How can one start dealing with anger management? What is the first and foremost initiative?
Okay, very good. So, what I do, okay, is let me go back to what I teach in my willpower course. Okay. So really, what I teach people to do, the first thing that is very, very important. Okay. It's what I call CAT. CAT is what I call counter-ambush training. Counter-ambush training. See, often when you get angry, for example, it's like being ambushed. Like suddenly you're attacked by something. It comes out of nowhere. That's how anger often happens. And it could be with any impulse. So this is true of any impulse control, whether it's anger, whether it's, some appetite that you have, any impulse that you have. Anger is just another impulse. Okay? So The first thing is very simple, A, B, C, D. A, B, C. So cat, A, B, C, D. Yeah? You can find a video on this online, sister, if you want. Yeah? The first thing you need to develop is awareness. If you're a sort of person who gets angry, well, I'm just taking this as an example. You could use the example of you're the person who eats too many donuts, or you watch porn on your computer or whatever. All of these things you want to, some are haram, some you shouldn't, you just want to stop it, whatever, it doesn't matter. They're all impulses. The point is, in the example here, I'm just giving of anger. You need to be aware, what type of situations make you angry? Yeah? Do I get angry at the end of the day when I'm very tired, I'm physically exhausted? Do I get angry after I eat a certain type of food? Do I get angry when I see a certain color? You know, you want to find out what are your triggers. What triggers your impulse? Yeah? What is it? Because you will find it with everything. With anger, something triggers your anger. Yeah? So you want to become aware of what that is. Okay? Now, the best thing you can do for any impulse control is pray 2 rak'ah. But the truth is, before you get to the stage of praying 2 rak'ah, even then you need to enter a calm state. So the next thing I teach people to do is once you've realized, once you create that awareness, you'll start to realize, oh wait a minute, I'm in that time and that place where I'm going to get angry again. So now you have the awareness. So now what you want to do is you want to calm yourself down. So what I teach for all things generally is to first of all breathe. Slow your breathing down. Take a deep breath and take 3 really deep, long breaths. Just calm yourself down. You could go, the Prophet ﷺ said, if you feel angry, make wudu, or sit down, or lie down. So this is the next thing, C. A, B. A is awareness, B is breathe, C is change. Change your state. So if you find yourself in a situation when you're angry, change your state. Sit down. Make wudu. Leave the conversation. Leave the room. Change the environment where it is. Whether it's anger or any other impulse. Yeah? When you change your state, then that's D. That is D, which is delay. Delay is a time when you want to now think about why you don't want to get angry. What is the consequences of getting angry? So now you need to re-engage that thinking part of your brain. Because look, what happens when you get angry is your brain stops working. It's really you becoming very animal-like, you're reacting to something. So your brain stops thinking. It's actually the same. When you start eating food and you smell something, you just go crazy and you're just eating, your brain is not thinking anymore. When you see all those women on the computer screen, your brain is not thinking. You shut down your thinking part of your brain. And you might find, and then you start thinking, what did I do? How did that happen? I don't even know. So what you need to do is get into a position where you can start thinking again. You can pause and plan. Think about what you want to do. So this is the next thing you need to do, is that when you've got the awareness, you breathe to calm yourself down, you change your state, pray 2 rak'ah, make wudu, sit down, whatever it is, then think. Okay, what happened to me when I got angry last time? What happened when I got angry last time? How long was that, bad feeling between me and my husband and my wife or my kids or my mother-in-law, whatever it was, yeah? Or whatever. How did I feel about that? Think about the consequences. That's what you want to do. Yeah? And you know what? Sometimes, very occasionally, you have a right to be angry. But you know what? If you're going to get angry, do it in the right way, knowing that it's the right thing to do. Not just because you are impulsively angry. Get angry because anger is the appropriate emotion to display at that time, and you thought about it, which sounds like the opposite. It's not really angry then, is it, really? But the point is that if you still want to strongly voice your displeasure, you've done it having thought about it, thought about the consequences, and you do it not just as a reaction, you do it as a, with intention and with understanding that's the right thing to do, or whatever it may be. Okay? So anyway, this is my general advice about any type of impulse that you have, not just anger. This is how you deal with it, inshallah. Again, you can find that. Actually, I have a free video on this. You can find it on my YouTube channel. And actually, I think somewhere I have a download that, what you call it, an infographic where you can download that counter ambush training. Helps with any impulse control, inshallah.
Okay, we'll just allow the last question from the brother, and then we'll end the program.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhammed. You was talking about mobile phone, which I also have. You was talking about social media. I used to open WhatsApp, and it can be used for good or bad. I'm using it for good. But one good, I doesn't understand properly. Most of the time I'm getting the hadith quoted on my WhatsApp. And it is requested to be sent it to as much Muslims as possible. Though while doing it, shaitan will stop you. If you don't send it, you will be company of shaitan. If you send it, you will leave the Muslim world. I understand one thing because of my normal atmosphere. We've been told in college that reading the book is very important. Any book, reading is very important. We must read as many as possible. But what I believe, reading the book is important, and more than that, it's important who have written it. The author is much important than that. This is what I believe. I'm not trying to say that this is right or wrong. I'm telling you that this is right. According to that, what I receive, a hadith or a translation of Quran, I don't know exactly who have written it and it is right or not. There are many hadith which are weak, in such a weak state which would not mention that. I don't have a knowledge of that. So what I normally do, I believe. I don't send it to somebody taking responsibility that I spread something wrong, because I don't have authority on others. Today I received one that one of the sign of last day is people, they will start deleting Quran and statements.
Can I please request you to ask the question, and we are aware that the Sheikh was the dialogue.
Of Sheikh on that.
Very often, if I get a Jazakallah khair, brother, very often, to be honest, if I get a message like that, it says, oh, you must send this to whatever or else this will happen, I automatically delete it. I mean, if someone tells me to send it like that, I will not send it on purpose. Because I don't think this is the right way. Yes, you can encourage somebody, yeah, and you can say, spread the reward, get the benefit, this is whatever. But when people start saying, oh, this will happen to you, and you should spend all the, you will be a kafir, you will be a this and that, I will delete it automatically. I would never send a message like that to anyone. That itself is a sign that it's not authentic. And this is a type of way to try and manipulate people. In fact, I got so many messages like that that are so ridiculous. I messaged the person who sent it to me and say, what is this ridiculous thing that you're sending? Just unbelievable. So I can't think how an intelligent person would even send some of these things. So this is actually, brother, a very good example of exactly the dangerous thing that I was talking about. How you can spread something across the world in a minute, and it's actually wrong. It's actually misguiding people. So this is a good principle. I like your principle, alhamdulillah. Leave that which makes you doubt for that which does not make you doubt. Yeah? And yes, that's a very good principle. If you have any doubt in your heart, is this authentic? Delete it. What's the harm? No harm. Alhamdulillah, the harm is in spreading something not authentic. So that's a good policy. Thank you, Jazakallah khair. Very good. Thank you.
Jazakallah Sheikh for giving a complete answer and answering with such wisdom. To end the program, I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for gathering us today to remember him and remember his beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I'd also like to thank the Sheikh for traveling to all the way to here to impart his experience and knowledge with all of us. And I'd also like to thank all of you for coming today, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of you. I'd like to remind you to attend tomorrow's talk. The topic is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his message and mission. On Saturday, that is the day after, we have a new Muslims special. The topic is Journey of Life. Although it's a new Muslims special, all are welcome. You all are encouraged to invite your colleagues to avail Sheikh Abduraheem Reed's experience on the field of dawah. Inshallah, we shall all see you tomorrow. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.